Nolecast, and there you go, adding myself. Um, Sorry we didn't get this out to you earlier. I've just been sick like I haven't been all year. Kids, cold finally got to me, chest cold and whatnot. Laid up in the bed a couple days, just not doing much, and except on the phone, texting, talking to sources. But feel better today. No fever, tested negative, all that stuff. So on the way to signing day, about a 10-minute episode, 15-minute episode here, and we'll get you on your way. Little signing day preview, just kind of what I'm still looking for. Florida State currently sitting with a top 5 class. I fully expect them to finish with a top 5 class. I think they've done a really nice job with this class overall. A lot of top talent. They're replenishing some rooms, setting a foundation for some other rooms. The defensive back class is just incredibly good. Bates, Lester, all those dudes, obviously, and then you have KJ Bolden, which I guess is where we'll start this. There's smoke out there about Auburn, KJ Bolden. Certainly could happen. I actually think that there's a pretty decent shot FSU holds on to KJ Bolden. Auburn's going to have some cash to splash in the pot, especially if it's sitting out the quarterback transfer portal market, which it appears to be doing. It doesn't look like Auburn's going to get a quarterback, and if you get a quarterback, that's a good chunk of your budget. So they're going to have some money to throw around. There's some other targets for them as well, though. And as of yesterday and this morning, I still felt fairly good about FSU holding on to the 5-star defensive back KJ Bolden. So that's good. As far as 4-star defensive lineman Armando Blunt, I don't think anybody is under any notion at this point that he will stick with Florida State. I think his mom essentially said as much on Twitter and wants him closer to home. So I would expect him to go back to Miami on signing day. The telling thing there is when he did not visit last weekend. Instead, he decided to go to Miami. So that's a pretty good indication of where that young man will likely be going. And yeah, I'm in an airport lounge today. So yeah. All right. What else do I have here? This is the problem. Like, signing day used to be a really fun thing because there were so many signatures you're waiting on. Nowadays, you're really not. I mean, it's 2 or 3. Just talked about the 2 you want to hold on to. The other 2 that we're going to be monitoring on signing day: Denos White, the 3-star defensive lineman out of North Carolina, big-bodied kid, guy that really helped the class. And then, of course, Jeremiah Smith, number 1 player in the country, 5-star recruit, Ohio State commit as of now. I really do think, and we've talked about on the show before, like there's certain positions and certain coaches on the staff that I just don't think are good recruiters, and that Mike Norvell needs to demand more of. Receiver is not really one of those. I think they've done an excellent job recruiting Jeremiah Smith throughout the whole process. Early on, it was, hey, just give us a shot. Let's see what we can do down the stretch. Give us a shot to prove it with this season. Keon Coleman balling out happened to be Jeremiah's favorite receiver in college. And I think in the end, it'll just be, we'll see. I still think FSU does have a legitimate shot to flip Jeremiah Smith. So we'll see if they can cash it in. But obviously, everybody's involved there. Ohio State, Florida State, Miami. I don't really give a lot of credence to the Florida thing, but I don't know. He's still being listed in articles with them. For me, I pretty much see the Miami, Ohio State, Florida State. And I think I do personally think FSU has a better shot to flip him than Miami does from the Buckeyes. But again, I don't know a lot of people who are super confident in their decision as far as JJ, where he's going to go. Maybe they'll be right. Like, maybe there is somebody who is super, super confident. But even like the Ohio State insiders are not saying, yeah, it's locked. It's totally done. Right? So we'll see. All right. That's basically it as far as signing day. That's a crazy low amount of time spent on talking about signing day. What I am more excited about is talking about some of the prospects in the class. And I want to have Graham on here to kind of break everybody down one by one. We usually split it into like offense and defense. Portal wise, if you live in a bubble, it's really easy to kind of get worried about a lot of this stuff. Oh, this kid's leaving, that kid's leaving. Everything I hear outside of Florida State. FSU is being extremely competitive in the retention space and in the acquisition space. I think that some players have left and are getting, like I mentioned on the last podcast, which I still think holds up quite well. And I'm not trying to just toot my own horn, but I think I think there's a lot of evergreen stuff in that episode that I did. And I would recommend going back and listening to it, especially if you've not done so. But even if you already have, you may want to listen to it again. Some of these players who are leaving Florida State do not have good advice, right? Some of them have real agents and guys who know what they're doing. And they're looking for playing time elsewhere, or maybe like to cash in elsewhere if they don't have, um, a big time offer from FSU because they're not a big time player for FSU's level. But some of these kids get bad advice, like legitimately bad advice. And I say kids not in like a demeaning way, but it is their first time ever going through this process, and it is important for them to have good representation. And some of these guys do not. They are repped by guys who don't know what they're doing, or maybe they do have somebody who knows what they're doing, but they have too many outside influences as far as advisors and whatnot. And I think you're going to see some guys go and pass up on interesting and good opportunities from Florida State, and in some cases, be begging to come back pretty quickly because they're being offered elsewhere 20% of what their offer was from the Noles. Now, not in all cases. I think in some cases, maybe if a school is super, super desperate to retain or to get a player, certainly that could be. But some of these guys think are probably making a mistake if their goal is to cash in. If their goal is to get a defined starting role, sure, that makes a ton of sense to me. Why you would go and do that. But I was disappointed to see Rodney Hill at the portal, but based on the reporting as far as what the ask was there, I know Brendan Sonnone of Knowles 24/7 had some good stuff on that. You guys should definitely check out Knowles 24/7. They do a tremendous job, and I'm biased because I work for them, but like that whole roster is the guys that I've respected in this industry for a long time in this market. So, and some of the young guys they have obviously kill it as well. But I mean, yeah, no team that knows what they're doing, no team that is fiscally responsible is going to just blow up a deal on a guy who's part of a committee at running back. Next up to play does not mean next up to get paid. It's not an endowed position. Okay. Just because you're the quarterback next year does not mean you get, the same amount as the guy got the prior year. Everybody has different NIL marketing value, should we say. All right, this is actually holding up better than I thought. It's the first time I really tested out the voice in about 48 hours, honestly. So feeling better, and I could talk on air for 10 straight minutes, which I don't have to do on TV because I have a co-host and usually another analyst on the desk as well. So encouraging there. All right. Anyway, not worried about FSU portal stuff really at all. At some point, guys either want to be there or they don't. And if the answer is that they don't, okay. I 100% don't think any of the portal guys to leave so far are leaving over non-competitive offers. I'll leave it at that. All right. So, final thing here, quarterback. Well, you may know the answer to this by the time you hear or watch this. I don't know. My guess is that this stretches on another day or two, maybe until after signing day. We could have some fireworks by Friday. At this point, I'm fairly confident that Florida State will end up with one of Cam Ward or DJU. I think both those are really capable starters. It just kind of depends on who you like better for your offense. And I actually, from the intel I have, FSU does like both. So we will see how that plays out. So, all right, you're at the top of the market for one of the transfer quarterbacks. You're not taking like one of these guys that's like 7, 8, 9 in the portal for quarterbacks. You're legitimately fighting for the number one player in the country down the stretch. You put up a really good fight for LJ McCray, by the way, down the stretch. I don't think that's going to happen, but I guess I should mention that. I think you have a good chance to retain KJ Bolden. Even in the worst case scenario, if you want to use that kind of language, you're still in a really good spot to land a top 5 class, which would be the best class that Mike Norvell has landed in his time in Tallahassee, and by a good bit. You're going to get to see a lot of young guys play in this upcoming bowl game. It sucks to lose Armando Blunt to Miami, which I fully expect to happen. And I think clearly, like, Mike Norvell is going to have to take a look at the recruiting prowess, especially of some of the guys on his defensive staff, or maybe the approach, or both. But who knows? Maybe I'll have egg on my face because they flip LJ McCray and pull some other miracle out of their hat. But yeah, like that's the one area that we could really identify right now that is not close to what the very best teams out there typically sign at. But we'll say, I'll leave you with this as well. I believe we have 19 5-stars committed to different teams right now, and that does not even include Michigan, USC, and Notre Dame. Think about that. That's like 23 power level schools that have a 5-star committed to them. That's pretty ridiculous. I think there is an argument that the talent in the sport is becoming more spread out than it ever has. Not to all 128 teams, but more so to like 30 or so. Anyway, I hope you guys have an awesome signing day. Hope you guys get the Christmas shopping done. And I really look forward to doing a post signing day show with Graham. Even though I feel like this is kind of useless because there's not much going on that like we really care about. I feel like we have to do one because it's tradition. So, and signing day is still real to me, damn it. All right. Watch us tomorrow all day on the 24/7 Sports YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys giving us 5-star reviews, and take care.